Yeah. So we got Ryan Bigfoot. What's the name of your channel?
Ryan Bigfoot 1019.
Ryan Bigfoot 1019. I've had a channel on YouTube for a while.
Yeah, but then I
And
deleted that first channel. I don't know
yeah.
why. I wish I never did. It was getting kind of
Well,
popular.
yeah, it was. Yeah. Some people, I mean, people do that sometimes though. It's like a little stressful, you know what I mean? Especially
Yeah,
when you
it
get a lot of
is.
subscribers and stuff, because like
Yeah, kind of feel a
you
little bit
don't
more
that
pressure.
it becomes a whole different thing than when you started. You get some
Yeah.
backlash. Then it becomes very all this drama, which is like the last thing in the world anyone wants. The stuff you're talking about, nobody else is talking about. There's some crossover though. It's correlated to what I'm talking about, and then the things you've discovered.
Yeah, which is this
You know,
pattern here of this rose where
yeah,
it rises again. They use the rose because of the verb to rise, right? It's the past word of rise because it rose again. But yeah, there's that hand sign, the
yeah.
unnatural hand sign. That's
It's
what I call it.
what do you call it?
The unnatural hand sign. Well, actually,
Okay,
that's what they call it.
really?
Yeah, there's a .gov website dedicated to explaining that hand sign because I guess a lot of people talk about how it's all in classical art and all that stuff, the paintings or
Oh, that's
whatnot.
right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You see this in like the Renaissance paintings or the medieval paintings, especially they're always doing
yeah,
this unnatural hand sign. That's right.
yep. But here it is right here on the cover of Vogue magazine.
And they're part of the club that rose from, where did they rise from?
Rose from the ashes, or it rose from the pit, or it rose
The
from the
pit,
abyss.
the abyss, the
All
abyss.
these terms seem to be used synonymously.
Because the mother goddess who sustains all life on earth goes to the underworld, so everything dies in the winter and then comes back in the spring, and then everything's
Huh.
fertile again. That's kind of the how it started. So there's a relationship between the mother goddess and the creator of life,
Hmm.
and then these people we're looking at. But there was an androgyny aspect because it was the androgynes
Or that
who rescued
reincarnated.
they rescued Inanna from the abyss, from the underworld.
Okay, so this is from the Freemason documentary. You can watch it on YouTube if you want. But in this documentary, they say during the initiation, the candidate must bare one of his breasts. This is to show that he is not a woman. So then here's a picture of, the candidate bearing his breast. So supposedly that's to show that he is not a woman. So then I watched this like art documentary, and they have this statue of Venus, and this is like a famous stance in art. It's called Venus Pudica, a stance where a nude female uses her right hand to cover her breast while her left hand tries to hide her pubic area. So there's just like this overlap here between Freemasonry and this Venus artwork where they're covering a breast or they're bearing a breast. And that's part of this whole, I guess, could you describe it as double speak? Would that be an example of double speak? How they're saying one side saying they're bearing one breast and then the other side saying they're covering one breast.
No, they've said in their own literature even they have different ways of expressing the same symbol. So that there's like a symbol archetype, but they'll kind of tweak it a little bit here and there. But for them, they understand that it means the same thing. So it doesn't always have to be the exactly like an uncovered breast. It could be, like you said, a covered up breast or the hand on the breast or even just a shoulder,
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be such a literal exact symbol. It points to that symbol either way. There's many different ways. That's how they conceal it even more from us. Just when we think we understand their symbols, they have a variation of the same symbol that means the same exact thing. So like the one in the middle there, Blair White, that's doing the uncovered breast, but the breast isn't literally uncovered,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. Well,
just the
because it
shoulder
can.
area.
It's on a TV show, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah. So that's how they do it. Yeah.
yeah,
It means the same thing. It means what it
yeah,
says below, right? That it's like, or it means what the Masonic guy said to show that it's not a woman.
yeah, yeah. So this is on Infowars, and this is uh, well, I don't know, what do you call it, a transvestite or
Transvestite, I think, is the technical
just
term that I would use
a man that wears women's clothes? I don't know if this is the same as this
in
though.
terms
I
of
think,
what?
yeah, this is a male.
In terms of species?
Yeah, it's yeah. This could just be
All
like
right.
a boy that was transitioned, where this was
Yeah.
genetically altered.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like where I
that's
live, there's a lot of people like in the middle there. There's a lot of people who look like that. I see these people once in a while and they look just like that, you know.
you would be able to tell if you seen this one.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Especially in real life because they're just larger than they should be, you know. But for sure, yeah, just the amounts, the plastic surgery, the alterations.
I just went
I'm
to this
pretty,
thing's Instagram page, and it has a picture pinned with Joe Rogan.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, it looks
They're
so
all in the
weird.
club,
Joe
man. They're
Rogan
all in the
looks so
club.
weird in that pictures.
You ever
It's
see
body
look
type.
at
I just
photos
call it
of
it's.
when he's young, you know, when he's young, it just looks very like a different person. I'm not sure we know exactly what they are, but at least we know at least partially what they are. Androgyne is a good word because I think we're the only two guys who use that word, you know, but that's an ancient word. That's a Greek word, and they use that in Greek literature, androgyne, you know, which means male hyphen female. And that's probably what they think they are. They probably believe they are actually androgynes. You know what I mean? Both male and female, or neither male nor female. They're neither completely male nor completely female. And that's kind of what the spiritual entities probably are, right? They're genderless, non-binary. They believe, I think, that they are spiritual angelic beings living here on Earth. And
Do you think they do you think they believe that like on their own, or do you think
they were
people are
told
like
that.
sort of forcing that type of belief
Yeah,
system on
yeah.
them?
Just like when
Yeah,
like when you grow up in a religion, you kind of you just
yeah,
grow you're in that culture and you're in that worldview, right? So they're taught this as children. They're raised this way from day one.
for sure.
And at some point, you think they'd have to realize they're different than the other kids, you know?
And then
So they're
they
special.
they
They're special. And look at Taylor Swift, right?
they
It's
build them
like,
up with this God complex.
how could Taylor Swift not think that he's special? You know, he goes on tour, world famous. There's 50,000 people in the stadium. It's like, yeah, Taylor Swift is a demigod that everyone worships Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift, in his head, he's thinking, yeah, I am special. I mean, I think they give them all this fame to kind of keep them happy for the sacrifice they've made, you know, which is the sacrifice of the Venus pudica, which is covering up the pubic area.
Yeah, that's the only reason why they include that this thing is covering up its pubic area, because it's covering up what's really there.
Or not there, or what
Or
used to be there. You know,
yeah,
that's another thing we don't know for sure exactly. There's different types of them, you know. Castration was such a huge thing in the ancient world. And I think
and
basically what we're discovering is that the ancient, you know, practices, the ancient rituals and the ancient religion is still very much alive and well today, which is something a lot of people don't realize, you
yeah,
know.
it never went away.
Never went away, and they basically kind of controlling the world, controlling mass media, government, pharma industry, everything.
Yeah, so this one actually is open about it. It'll tell you that it is.
Oh,
So
really?
here it is on
That one's an open
InfoWars.
transvestite.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't even
it's
know
an
what that
open
is
one.
actually.
It was on InfoWars,
Oh,
and during the entire interview, it had this symbolism here, this bearing of the one breast, but it
it,
was doing it with this jacket hanging off on one shoulder.
is that considered on this InfoWars interview? Is that considered to be the good androgyne who's like conservative and normal? And because that's what they're doing
Yeah,
now
I think
too.
so.
Bruce Jenner is now like a conservative Republican transvestite, and those are the good ones. And
Yeah,
then you got the bad ones like that Bud Light one.
this is when Taylor Swift was going to the Chiefs game, and then during the entire Chiefs game, this thing was doing the same symbolism
Okay.
that this thing was doing.
So
This,
the open transvestite is doing a symbolism that Taylor Swift is also doing. So
yeah, which
why is that?
conveys the message that it is not a woman.
Ah,
Taylor Swift
interesting.
is not a woman. So then Taylor Swift goes on a date because it's supposedly dating that football player.
Two things at once.
So this, yeah. Yeah, so it goes on a date, and when that football player opens the door for it and it gets out, there it is, doing the same symbolism. So
They're
it's all
proud. They're
just a
proud of it.
symbolic display.
They think they're better
Oh
than
yeah.
us. And look at that Adam's apple.
What would you call this necklace here?
Uh,
Choker?
A choker.
Is it a
Okay.
choker?
Maybe. I
So
don't
then you
know
could
jewelry.
cross-reference that with what this character here is wearing, which is a noose, and a noose chokes. So
Look at
there's the
that.
choker.
I was going to ask about the noose.
Yeah,
Like, what is that noose? They always have a
yeah, it's
necklace. In the government, they all wear pearl necklaces. But yeah, it's a good point. It's probably the choker there, right? Okay.
and then you can read about the choker, and the choker was one of those garments that was worn by prostitutes to show that they were a prostitute, but it's also to hide the Adam's apple.
Ah,
I mean, there's thicker chokers here that would kind of sort of conceal that there. Or even this right here. This is would be like an Ouroboros.
yeah, like a serpent. It almost looks like a serpent or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because Taylor
yeah,
Swift had a lot of serpents in the latest tour, the Eras tour last year, full of serpent
yeah.
imagery and trans propaganda. Like for me, I would see the Adam's apple and I'd be like, okay. But then in addition to that, they got the symbolism. In case you weren't sure about the Adam's apple, if you still had any doubts, they just go ahead and tell you. And they speak in symbols. See, the average person, people who watch our channels kind of get this, but normal people don't understand there's a secret language going on all around us, which is a language we don't understand because we're not in their cult. They know this language loud and clear. They know that one shoulder is
I
the
heard it. Can you hear
androgyne.
me? They might teach it from a different perspective. Like you could take the compass and square and say it's all about geometry or sacred geometry, when
Yeah,
really what a compass and square would be a square and a circle, or you could just flip that and say it's a male and a female because it's the androgyny stuff, but it's being told under a different type of tone. Like that one guy, when I tried to explain the whole bearing of the one breast and stuff to him, he went on talking about, oh, I know
because
Freemasons and they never said
they
any of
don't know
this
about that.
silly shit that you're
Yeah.
saying, blah 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 blah
Yeah,
blah.
they don't know the weird stuff because they would not like it. They're told a bunch
The
of good stuff.
Oh, the best example I found of that would be that in Yellowstone when Beth was, Jason, look at me. And you know what I'm talking about? I made a video over that scene in Yellowstone where Beth
Yeah,
got beat up and
yeah,
she's
yeah,
screaming at her assistant, look at me, look at me. And if you look at her, it's doing the bearing of the one breast thing.
yeah,
That's what I like one of the
yeah.
best
And
examples
maybe
I
getting
found.
beat up is kind of
And
part
who
of
who
the ritual.
or who would believe that Beth is a man? Could you look at Beth from Yellowstone and say that's a man?
Probably, I'd have to look closely. I mean,
So I go off a
probably would
lot of
be.
just how they're being used. Like if it's being used in that scene in the way that it was, then it has to be a
Yeah,
man.
I mean, they're radically altering their body in unhealthy ways, but they know that, and that's their sacrifice. And they don't like the body anyway. The body is just a prison. They're anti-body. They're spiritual angels. That's their way to rise above the material world. They're proud of it. And that one too, that show Yellowstone had a lot of stuff. Like you noticed way more than I did. The blue jeans, right?
Yeah,
Genes, not Jean.
right.
Blue is the color of aliens.
That's sort of telling the bacteria story, but from a different angle. Because what they got from that bacteria would be those blue genes, like the bits and pieces or whatever that they discovered.
Yeah, in the little orphan boy, you may have missed that scene where he just grabbed this huge piece of fudge. I
Oh,
mean, for
really?
no reason. Yeah, he's sitting at the table with Kevin Costner and the family. For no reason, he grabs this huge piece of fudge, and they start talking about the fudge.
And that's the horse that he rode was Blue Jeans, I think, is what it was. The horse's
Ah,
name, if I remember that right. I don't know.
yeah. And there was also a scene with actual blue jeans, the clothing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And like the orphan boy must be some kind of symbol. That's the offspring, I guess. Yeah, that's the next generation, Generation V.
I'm good at finding the stuff, but I'm not good at explaining the stuff.
It is kind of hard to explain. But basically they're genetically altering and bioengineering people. There's an androgyny aspect to it, and there's how would you say, a demonic element to it, or an alien, if
Alien, demonic.
Problem with I hate the fact that the word alien people associate it with something else. You know what I mean? It just means foreign. It means foreign. It's a foreign element. They're not from this world, so they're foreigners. They're aliens, right?
That's why they say that the black stone is a meteorite because it's not of this world.
Is that a Muslim thing you're talking about? What's the black
Um,
stone?
The black stone of Mecca that's on the cube,
They
that's on the
they say
eastern
that's a
corner of the cube.
meteorite.
Yeah, they say it's a meteorite, but
Wow.
it's really a piece of coprolite, a piece of dung, piece of poo. And the reason why they describe it as a meteorite is just to incorporate that alien aspect that it's outside this world.
And they
If that
walk
makes
around it.
sense.
They cannot touch it. Is that
Oh,
right?
they no, they want to touch it. They want to kiss it.
Oh, they do touch it.
Yeah, they want to kiss it. That's like their whole thing. They want to kiss the black stone.
It's like they kiss the wall in Jerusalem too,
Oh, I
right?
thought they'd walk up to it and like hump it, dry hump it.
Oh, maybe they do that too. I don't know.
The phoenix describes it how it rises from the ashes. They use the dung beetle because the dung beetle larvae supposedly emerge from the ball of dung as baby dung beetles. So it's, I guess what I'm trying to explain is this phoenix, this rebirth thing that's being expressed. Even the lotus, I think that's, isn't that big where you are? That they have the lotus, or is that
Yeah,
somewhere
that's the
else?
Buddhist thing. Yeah, the Buddhist.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
lotus, it rises from the mud.
It's like a rose, basically.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. It's that same,
Okay.
it's sort of that same narration
Interesting.
just being
Oh yeah, the
retold.
lotus is huge in Buddhism.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it rises, or you could
yeah.
even say it rises from the abyss because it rises from the mud, but it also rises out of the water and
Rises
blooms
from the fecal matter
from, yeah, the
if it's
mud,
out of the mud. Yeah.
but it also rises out of the water. So there's the abyss reference. So there's that symbolic narration that's just being told all throughout all these different
It's almost like
religions.
in every movie too. I mean, even I watched this movie, The Fall Guy, which I told you about. The guy at the
Yeah, I tried
beginning,
to find it.
he falls from a great height. He's a stuntman, first of all, right? And a stuntman is basically a doppelganger of the actor, right? That's symbolically, that's what it is, because he has to look the same. And in this case, the stuntman is the Dybbuk, because he falls from heaven and then he gets injured. So now he's the cripple. He's the Dybbuk, the disembodied spirit. But then the stuntman has to attach himself to the actor. But then the actor is the human body,
You
right?
know, you just reminded me of
What?
that the movie Avatar. You know, that
Yeah.
those they were twin brothers, and one of them was in a wheelchair, one of them was paralyzed.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just that same type of symbolism, just
Twins. Yeah,
being,
the twins
yeah,
aspect of it too.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
being told in a different way, and
I
that's
was
sort of
yeah.
like that's sort of like the pattern that's just being shown in all these different movies.
I just saw an interview. There's an openly like the other one, the open transgendered person. That's the word they use. Doing an interview on Ellen, and this one plays like a superhero in Supergirl. They have transvestite characters now, played by transvestites in the movies, in the TV shows. Supergirl, and it's also an alien. So they have these transvestite aliens now in the superhero TV shows. But the transgendered actor has a twin brother. So the twins are a byproduct of IVF. All these celebrities have twins, so many of them. And so that goes along with the idea of this breeding program kind of thing, bioengineering, the next generation. They're creating these people in the lab, right? And they come out. Now it's possible they have a surrogate mothers somewhere as the incubator. There's certainly most of the mothers are not real women, right? So they're not giving the birth, and they openly admit that quite a bit. Most celebrities admit that they have surrogates giving birth, and most of them have twins. They're not normal human beings. There's something going on.
I bet Taylor Swift's gonna have a baby.
Yeah, do the fake pregnancy thing with the Kansas
Yeah,
City Chiefs guy.
and the
But
Chiefs might even be moving. They do this like
no,
every, yeah,
really.
they do this all the time. They try to pass this, make everybody vote to approve this tax to so they can redo the stadium and everything.
Oh
And
man.
they always threaten to move the teams if people don't vote yes. So
Yeah.
it didn't pass this time for the first time. People voted no. They didn't want to start a new tax to help
Even though they won the
pay.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It's so funny. I mean, so taxpayers have to pay for their stadium.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
That's crazy. And look how
yeah,
fake. Have you seen how like fake the NFL is? All the fake, like every play is basically it's like wrestling. It's like professional wrestling. They're not really tackling people. And they
yeah.
could tackle someone and they intentionally miss the tackle.
I can't watch that.
Have you seen the breakdowns of this stuff? I mean, it's
No,
amazing. I'll send you something. It's amazing how fake the NFL is. They're not really playing, actually. They're out there and they're moving around, but they're just as real as a professional wrestling is, basically. So taxpayers have to pay for this. It's basically entertainment at best, but I guess that's just the way it's always been, you know. But that's why they're kind of getting the NFL and the Taylor Swift. They're all kind of merging. And then he advertises for the pharmakia.
oh, a whole bunch of other stuff too, sports drinks and all this other crap. He's on billboards all over.
He's basically an actor. I mean, he's got to be because no one can be that dumb. He's just an idiot. Like he's just a total idiot. You know what I mean? He can't be that
Yeah,
dumb. Maybe he is, but you know.
dumb and that he thinks nobody knows Taylor Swift is a boy. It's crazy. And then there's
Well, some
Patrick
people know.
Mahomes.
Oh, that's the quarterback, right?
Hmm.
And the
I've done
wife,
yeah, I've
the
done a lot of
alien wife.
videos. I
Yeah.
actually got death threats over that. So,
Well, you got to watch that. Yeah, because these are idol. You know, these are
oh, people are passionate about them. They love
idols.
them.
Their identity
Oh,
is attached. I think the basic essence of humanity is to be an idolater, to worship something. And if you're not worshiping the real creator of this world, you're going to be worshiping a creation. You know, part of the creation. We have to worship something. We need some kind of that's why they have these false gods, right? Nowadays, the false gods are the celebrities, the androgynous celebrities are the modern day gods. And they show it. Look at Beyonce always dressing up like a goddess, all of them. There's one Taylor Swift on stage and there's 50,000 worshipers in the audience. In the Philippines, there's an actual transvestite Taylor Swift impersonator who also gets thousands of people coming to his concerts.
wow.
He's a Taylor Swift impersonator, transvestite. Everyone knows it's a transvestite, and people just go to the concerts he sings Taylor Swift songs.
You
Ha!
have to show me that.
I'll have to make a video. People might not know about this. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I think your channel, like, I don't see it getting censored because as long
But
as you don't use
for the
words, the key words that they can claim it's hate speech if you use certain words, but just don't use those
yeah,
words.
for the most part, I just like to use their own stuff. Like I just
Yeah,
put
yeah,
it in the right
yeah,
order.
yeah. It's very
And
powerful. I just made a video where it's not me talking; it's all them talking, and it's like, okay, so
but
we're not
then
we're not just making stuff up,
yeah, a lot of people don't they can't understand that type of video format though.
Yeah,
Can't read everybody,
we're
I
a
guess.
niche market. It's going to be not everyone is interested in this or can handle it, but there is
Do
there is an audience for it, but it's the minority of people.
So what do you think is going to happen? Like, what's the
Oh, that's a good topic. Yeah. So basically, like, we had like moon landing, 9/11, the pestilence, right? The plague, the false sign and wonder. So there's going to be something like that again, right? A big event. There's going to be a big fabricated event, a narrative. We could say that. Just start general and work our way down to specifics. And it could be a totally different narrative, right? But they're kind of like 9/11 was pretty similar to the plague in the sense that there's an invisible enemy that we all have to fight against. The invisible enemy that doesn't actually exist.
right?
But they say it does, right? So we got to fight where it's a war against the invisible enemy. So the last two big narratives had that in common. So could they do another invisible enemy narrative, which could be another plague, but I think the alien narrative is pretty likely because they've just been prepping us for it. And they're doing it like even like Tucker Carlson talking. Did you see the interview with Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan?
Who's
Right.
Tucker Carlson?
Oh, you
Is
don't?
that the Fox guys? Is that the
Yeah.
Fox News
The
guy?
Fox guy, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Controlled out. They're all controlled out somehow. But Tucker's
Well, I say guy, I don't know for sure.
yeah, no, yeah, we're just using the character's name.
Right, right.
But so like here's my phone, right? So right when the podcast starts, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, two of the biggest names out there in media, it starts, and then he picks up his phone. He's like, "Oh, breaking news about aliens." Like that, as if that wasn't planned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
so they start talking about aliens. This is like a month ago, like this, and he's talking about aliens from the abyss, actually. Tucker
Really?
Carlson on Joe Rogan. Yeah, you could find it on YouTube. The first like
Uh-huh.
20, 30 minutes of that whole interview, they're talking about aliens from the abyss, underwater. It's almost like Tucker was watching my old videos. I did videos on this 2 years ago about the abyss and aliens from the abyss. But that's the James Cameron movies are all about that. I mean, he's got a movie called The Abyss with aliens in the abyss.
I've never watched it, but
And it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. That's Revelation 9 and a bit of Revelation 20 and Genesis 1 even. The alien narrative has just been, there's more and more of it every week, it seems like. And if you think about it from their perspective, right, what would be a good narrative to use? I mean, the pestilence narrative worked great for them, really. Amazing narrative. It worked very well. And it's really all about being ostracized, right? And the history of humanity is basically a group of people will kill someone who's different than them. If you don't worship the Roman gods, you're excluded from society because you're going to bring a pestilence upon them by not worshiping the gods, right? If you don't worship our local gods, you're bringing disease and death to the community. So that's the same as the recent thing we had, and you need a certificate to prove that you have followed the safety procedures by worshiping the Roman gods. They did that in 250 AD, right? And now they do it with the injection. You got to get the injection, and you get a certificate, right? That's the mark of the beast, is the certificate. You need a certificate to show that you did what you're supposed to do to participate in the economy, to keep the community safe. So being ostracized is a big part of it, right? You're in or you're out. That's just how human society kind of works and human nature. But if they do some kind of alien narrative, there's a lot of theories about exactly how they'll do that narrative. But I think the aliens, at the very least, would be the new gods. They would be the gods. And we're probably going to descend from the aliens. We came from the aliens. They still holding on to this globe Earth thing, too. I think they'll say that human beings originally came from these alien race, right? And these are our ancestors. And maybe we need some kind of injection to become more like them. Maybe they'll be androgynous. There'll be something, some kind of alien disclosure kind of thing. And then that we're going to have to change our lives based on that. And I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. It'll change everything, though. I think that would be the biggest, probably the final narrative they do, because that would just change our worldview radically and change the way societies run. They may have to enslave us all. Maybe the aliens are bad aliens. They enslave us. Maybe they're good aliens who save us. But either way, it's all just a big deception. Now, I do think aliens are real in the sense of that they're spiritual beings. But they're already, like, they've been around the whole time. Even Tucker was saying that. And Tucker was saying the government works for them. So I would agree with a lot of what he said, actually. But he's kind of getting us ready for some kind of disclosure, And I think also people will kind of worship them as gods anyway, really, because that's just human nature. I mean, they're not going to tell us the whole truth. There may be a little bit of truth mixed in with lies. That's how you make a really good deception, truth mixed with lies. But it does, I mean, they say in the Fourth Industrial Revolution book, they say that it's the transformation of humanity. So it is a transhumanist agenda going on now. Maybe it's the destruction of the human race or the complete enslavement of the human race. And we have a bit of a break right now. Right now, it's a bit of like, all right, let's get back to normal.
Yeah.
Go to the Taylor Swift concert, go to see Metallica,
Starting to get too comfortable.
Yeah, getting comfortable and enjoying our little lives again, Forget about all that stuff that just happened. Forget about it. And everyone has forgot about it. Really.
Yeah, really, they have.
But then they'll come in with some other thing again, whenever. I don't know when. I don't know. What do you think? We got 2 minutes left.
I don't know.
Well, it's good to be open-minded, because if you lock into one view and you're wrong, then you might miss what's really happening. And there was also a lot of Christians are deceived in this pre-tribulation rapture idea. And there's this whole Israel thing going on too, where, people are pro-Israel for some reason, and they really shouldn't be, You do see the alien thing coming up a lot. You see certain things about Israel wars, there could be a fake nuclear war I think they could do that, or at least a strike. They could do a fake nuclear attack because they've done that before. They can fake anything as long as it's, it's so easy. It's really not hard. All they got to do is put it on the news and keep talking about it. And there's got to be an element of fear and panic. They've got it down to a science, really, to deceive people at the mass level. And now they've gotten better at implementing tyrannical measures at a local level. You're the special guest. Yeah, we got less than a minute.
Well, I mean, thanks for discussing this stuff with me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Yeah, we could do this again.